book review. So I did PewDiePie's 2025 book club challenge. And my overall thoughts? Yeah, it was pretty good. I'm glad I did it. I think everyone should do a book club like this at least once in their life. Because I think there was a lot of books on this list that I probably just never would have got around to reading just because I wouldn't have known they existed. Now, I'm not saying that I loved every book I read, nor did I agree with everything that I read, but that's not the point. You should open yourself up to different perspectives and thoughts, because you never know what you might enjoy or the new ideas you might take away. Now, I do have to say, what I took away from these books might not be what you took away or even the intended message of the book itself. I guess that's the good thing about interpretation. Everyone is correct. Now, as a reminder, here is the books that PewDiePie set out for us. Seeing as I have some issues pronouncing things, I'm just going to put them up on screen so everyone can remember what we read. When I say we, I sure hope you did it as well. I assume maybe you have because you're watching this video. Excluding my own picks, here's how I ranked them based on how Felix described the books and basically the title. I do have a bit of a bias towards just general philosophy. I do enjoy reading those kinds of books. And I did have In the Buddha's Words as number one just because I do like the idea of Buddhism, and I thought, well, I'm not going to get into any spoilers, but based on how Felix described it and the title and my own past biases, I was leaning towards this being my number one book. Now, the books that I chose to read, they are Thinking in Bets, Meditations, Thinking Fast and Slow, and December. Ooh, it's a surprise. Find out later what it might be. Now, at the start of the year, I thought by this time I would go through and give a review of each of the book, but to be honest, I don't really think that's fair. I think to give a proper review of a book, you need to read it, I think at least twice, like a few times, to really get the idea of what the book is about. There was a few books that I read in this 2025 period that I finished and I was sitting there thinking, wait, what did I read? After reading them, here's how I ranked each book. You'll see that it's actually quite a bit different, and In the Buddha's Words has gone from first to last. There's a good reason for that, which I'm going to get into. I think this was the really good thing about this kind of book club. Your preconceived ideas of what you might like, maybe you won't like them as much, and vice versa. You might look at certain books and go, I'm not going to enjoy that, but actually you might. I didn't have the physical copies, but I did have my bad boy Kindle. Having a Kindle makes things really easy. I do like physical copies, but this is just way convenient. I can just take it anywhere and have any book I want, so it's pretty cool. I'm going to put up on screen me proving that I have actually read each book by going through my Kindle. Instead of going through and giving a detailed review of each book, I'm just going to go through and list just a couple things I may have liked or disliked about the book. Now, again, what I have taken away from the book may not be what you have taken away from the book, so, you know, feel free to discuss if I am completely wrong down in the comments. My brain is a little bit less smooth after doing this book club, but it's still decently smooth, so be nice to me. So yes, January, Tao Te Ching. Now, I actually really liked this book. I thought it was a nice, easy read. He wasn't wrong. It was a very nice book to start off with. I agree. I think you could probably smash this book out in a day if you really committed to it. I liked learning about Taoism. I did see some similarities between Taoism and Stoicism. In saying that, I definitely didn't agree with everything they said in the book, but overall, it's I think a really nice book, easy read, and you can just chill out and read it, have fun. So, do recommend. February, In the Buddha's Words. Felix, what are you doing? Putting this book second right after the first one is like going from playing a nice easy baby game to jumping straight into Dark Souls. Tao Te Ching was a nice easy read. This one was quite a bit longer. See, I thought I was actually pretty good at managing my time, but I left the vast majority of this book for the last third in February, which was a massive mistake. So instead of doing 3 to 4% of a book, I ended up doing about 9, which made it really tough to get through this book because it's quite long. This book, it has a lot of good messages, but I feel like there's a lot of reading between the lines after some long-winded stories. It's kind of a contrast of Meditations to me, which was very direct. I will say, I don't think it's very fair, that critique, because I was sitting there catching up and I don't think I've read this book properly, so I'm going to need to come back and read it again to really see if I didn't like it that much. If this book did teach me one thing, it's that if you want to get through a book a month, just aim to read about 4%. It's about 3.4, but if you read 4% of a book, which These Kindles are really good. You have like a little percent in the bottom corner, and if you read 4%, you'll do a book a month. Doesn't matter how long it is. I do think, I need to come back and read this book again, but for new readers, maybe I don't recommend this one. It's a bit of a big read. March, Thinking in Bets, my first personal pick. This is one thing I really liked about what PewDiePie added into this book club. The fact that every third month you get to pick your own book, I think that's a really good idea because you have the structure of knowing which books you're going to read for the other months, and then you have to go, well, what do I actually want to read? And that can be, your own book. Now, I really like this book. I know, surprise, surprise, the book I picked I really liked. It goes into depth about how life is more like poker than chess, and there's a lot of hidden variables. We can always improve ourselves to make better choices, but luck plays an element whether we like it or not. There's a lot of the time where in life we just won't know if we've made the right choice or not, and we need to learn that that's actually fine. It's not a bad thing. All we can do is our best choice in the moment, try to do the best that we can, understand that luck plays an element, and live life as best as we can. So I think this is a decently easy book to read, but it is down a path that I do genuinely enjoy, so maybe I found it easier to read because of that, but yeah, my own book I do recommend. April, Epictetus, Discourses and Selective Writings. Fun fact, this book only survived thanks to a student named Arian, who credited with transcribing the lessons he learned in Epictetus' classroom at the beginning of the 2nd century AD. What I really liked about this book is that it's rooted in common experience and common sense. It is a collection of Epictetus lectures and is filled with recurring themes, so power of judgment, inevitability of challenges and relationships. To me, there's a similar message I took away from this in comparison with something like Meditations. Like the big takeaway was figuring out what you can and can't control. Again, I do like philosophy, so I did like this book. So yeah, do recommend. Good pick, Felix. Nice job. May, Plato's The Republic. So Plato's foundational philosophical dialogue exploring justice, morality, political order, and the nature of a well-governed society. Now, I'm not too sure what it was. I personally found this to be a bit of a harder read. It's not like the text was particularly difficult, it's just, it was struggling to hold my attention. Similar to In the Buddha's Words, I think I'm going to have to come back and reread this book to really take away what the messages it was trying to get across, because I finished this book and just sat there thinking, I'm not really too sure what I read. Not fair for me to give it a recommend or don't recommend, I just need to come back and read it again. June, Meditation. Now, this is a book that I have read actually quite a bit. I personally love Meditations. I think it is a book everyone should read, irrespective of your background, where you're from, gender, any of that. Yeah, I think it's genuinely an awesome book. I have read it a few times, and because I was traveling at the time, it was a book I could easily read again while traveling. It really is, to me, just a book of Marcus Aurelius just talking to himself through his journal. Like, I can imagine him coming back after a big day, just sitting there being like, just remember, people are stupid, but you should be doing your best to help them. To me, Stoicism is a framework, a guide on how you can live your life to the fullest of not getting held down by external factors. You have the power over your mind, not external events. Realize this and you will find strength. July. Now, this is one of the books that I'm going to have struggle pronouncing, so forgive me. I might just look it up and see how it's actually pronounced.
And in Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, that
Nicomachean? That's how you pronounce it. I got that real wrong. July. The Nicomachean... Oh god, I've already stuffed it up. You know what? You know what I mean. Now, this book was about the exploration of how humans can achieve eudaimonia, which is kind of translated to flourishing or living well. Now, Aristotle, he explains that virtues like courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom, where have we heard that before, are not innate but formed through practice and habituation. Now, yeah, I do love philosophy and I really like practical philosophy books, and this one is no exception. And that's what I really like this book. It makes it quite applicable to real life and the decision making that comes with real life. So yeah, definitely recommend this book. Really enjoyed it. August, the Iliad. Now, as PewDiePie describes it, the gods and humans are fighting in a war, and like him, I think that's pretty cool. Now, for me, I can't actually remember, well, I can, it's probably Harry Potter, but that was a while ago. It's been a while since I've sat and read a book where it wasn't about learning something or applying something, but just reading a story. And this book was actually a really nice change of pace for me. So I'm really just used to reading, philosophy books or stuff where I'm learning something. It was nice to sit back and just read a story. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this book that much, to be honest, but I really liked it. I think I recommend it. If you want a story about, the story of Achilles and his wrath, and how the gods come in and help the humans fight a war. Well, help is maybe the wrong word, but you know what I mean. Read this book. Really enjoyable. September, Thinking Fast and Slow. Now, the summary of this book is humans' thinking is driven by two systems: fast, intuitive impulses and slow, deliberate reasoning. This book goes into to show how cognitive biases systematically distort our judgment. Now, I think it's a cool book and you can gain a lot from it. However, I do think you can gain a similar level of knowledge from an easier book called The Inner Game of Tennis. If I have to sum it up crudely, it goes into how one part of our brain is the instinctual lizard part, and the other part which goes, hang on, let's think about this. Both have their role to play and both have advantages and disadvantages. And this book and The Inner Game of Tennis also, they go into how you can help manage those two ways of thinking to become a better person, I suppose. Definitely recommend. October, Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Again, I would have butchered that. Please go easy on me. So this book is Nietzsche's vision of human transformation, urging individuals to overcome herd morality and embrace self-creation. It follows Siddhartha, a solitary sage who descends from the mountains to teach humanity a new set of values. I think, like me, I think a lot of people would read this and think it is inherently negative by the way it's written, but I don't think that's really the point of the book, and there's actually a lot of positive takeaways you can take from it. I don't know if I'm wrong, but Nietzsche, I feel like is he a bit of a doomer? I haven't really looked into this too much, but if I can remember properly, I feel like he's known as a bit of a doomer, which led me to believe that I wouldn't enjoy reading this book, but I actually thought it was pretty good. So yeah, good book. November, Siddhartha's An Indian Tale. The book follows one man's spiritual journey towards enlightenment, as he learns that wisdom cannot be taught, only discovered through lived experience. I did enjoy reading this book. It's just a nice, easy read again, kind of just like a story. And even though it's a story, you can take away a lot from it. I think there's some good life lessons in here. I will say, I definitely don't agree with everything in this book, and at some points, I thought that Siddhartha was a bit of a bum. Why doesn't my son like me? I don't know, maybe because you left and he doesn't know you. Anyway, still an enjoyable read. Again, that's the point to a lot of this. Open yourself up to different perspectives, and you don't have to agree with everything you read. Now, my final book. I'm sure you've been on the edge of your seats wondering what it could be. My final book is Game Theory, a very short introduction. Yeah, I know, it's not that much of a surprise. I have heard a lot of game theory, and I don't know if there's practical stuff you can take away or it is a bit cringe. So I'm going to read this book because it is a very short introduction. Seems like a great book to read to see if I want to go further down this path of learning about game theory or just cut it early. That is the great thing about learning and reading different things. You can go in with no expectation of taking it further, but just seeing if you like it or not. And I think that's great. So I have an idea of understanding game theory. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not, but I'm going to read a short book and maybe it'll open up another path. And if not, I don't have to continue down that path. Overall, I'm really glad I did this challenge. I did want to read a lot more, and this book club just popped up at the right time. And I thought, yeah, why not? Let's just give it a go. Let's commit to a year of reading. And after I finish this book, I can happily say that I have read 12 books this year. Yay! It's more than the average person. Just want to say thank you, Felix, if you just happen to be watching this. Thanks for setting this up. This was really good. I'm sure there is a bunch of other people out there who really enjoyed doing this. And right, if you do a 2026 one, maybe I'll join in again. If not, I think I'll just go ahead and just read 12 books again, but pick my own. Anyway, thanks for watching.